If you want to check out one of the coolest things money can buy, at least for an average person like us, obviously, you know, rich people can buy private jets and, you know, 100-foot yachts, but for the common people, what we have here is a 2019 Tesla Model 3 dual motor long range, an amazing vehicle in its own right, but it has something a little bit special, a little bit more special than your average Tesla. This includes the full self-driving capability. So when this Tesla was first sold in 2019, full self-driving capability was about $6,000. Then as the software progressed and got better, they raised the price to $8,000. As it continued to get better and progressed, they raised it to $10,000, then to $12,000, and now as of December 2022, by the time I'm making this video, it's $15,000 for self-driving. So if you have a Tesla Model 3 and you want to upgrade to full self-driving, you pay Tesla $15,000 and they'll send a software update and you have it. You have to have the full self-driving computer like this one to operate the full self-driving software. Earlier Teslas don't all have the full self-driving computer. They either need a hardware upgrade to operate it, or some Teslas are just too old to operate it in general. Okay, so it's really cool. And it's a little bit deceiving, of course, because it says full self-driving capability, but this car is not at the point of full self-driving. The system is still in beta. I have a 2019 Tesla Model 3, similar to this one with full self-driving capability. It's an amazing system, but it's still in beta, which means we're still working to improve it. So beta testers like me, us using the software helps improve it and make it better. So hopefully one day it can really truly be a full self-driving vehicle where, you know, it can drop you off and go park itself. Or maybe it could be like a robo-taxi and make you money. Normally when a vehicle is, you know, you're not using it, it's parked. You know, vehicles are generally not in use most of the time. 80-90% of the time when you own a vehicle, it's parked. So rather than being parked, it could go out there making you money and helping offset the cost, or even paying for itself eventually as a robo-taxi. That's not set in stone. It's not guaranteed, but I think it's a possibility. That's why I elected to buy a Tesla full self-driving capability, because I think, you know, 2 or 3 years, maybe 5 years in the future, it's a real possibility, and my car could be like an investment property rather than a depreciating asset. So right now, the full self-driving is pretty amazing. I equate it to maybe like a 14 or 15-year-old kid driving. For 90% of driving, it's going to do just fine, but when things get a little bit complicated, driving situations, the software can get confused and you have to take over. But I'm used to it. I enjoy it. Probably almost all the time where I'm driving now, I have full self-driving working. And for the most part, it does great. And you can do things to help it along, like if it's maybe taking too much time thinking about making a turn and there's people getting behind you and getting angry, you can just nudge the throttle and it doesn't disengage the full self-driving, and it'll encourage the vehicle, hey, I say it's clear, you can go and continue. So there's some subtleties, but I have a Tesla full self-driving capability, so if you happen to purchase this one or are interested in it, I can show you how it works on mine. So right now, for you to have the full self-driving capability in use, Tesla wants you to drive 100 miles on autopilot with auto steer, and once you can prove to the car, you can prove to Tesla that you're capable of just using the regular autopilot, which is a traffic-aware cruise control, without you know, too many forced interventions, then they'll let you use the full self-driving software. This is a new thing. Previously, you know, a couple of years ago, only about 2,000 people who got into early testing were able to actually use the full self-driving software. Recently, they opened it up to everybody. For me, when I first got mine, I actually had to drive for a month, and they monitored my driving for a month. And once I could prove to Tesla that I'm not a crazy driver, you know, drive like a grandma, then it unlocked my full self-driving. But now the software has progressed to the point where now everybody who who owns it or subscribes to it, you can also subscribe to full self-driving for $200 a month. But this one, it's there. You have it, you know, for the life of the vehicle. No monthly subscription on this one. So on this one, you just drive 100 miles on autopilot and you can unlock the full self-driving. And the cool thing is, if you're not ready to use full self-driving as something that you want to save maybe further along in the future when it gets even better, well, you can basically have the vehicle act like it has enhanced autopilot. You can program the level of self-driving or driving assistance that you want, which is pretty cool. And I think the price of full self-driving is going to keep on increasing as the system gets better. Maybe it'll be $18,000 or $20,000, 6 months from a year from now, maybe more. And I think there is a distinct possibility that if Tesla actually solves the full self-driving, then it might just turn into software as a service where they might not let you buy it anymore, and you can only subscribe to it, just like Adobe, Photoshop, or Microsoft Office. You really can't buy them anymore. It's software as a service. You pay a monthly subscription. So those who do own the full self-driving, if it, that might be something special that, they might have something that you can't get anymore if that's the case. And this is all my speculation. It's not scientific fact. It's not, written in stone from Tesla. This is just my speculation, perception of me, seeing how the software has progressed and how Tesla treats it and prices it. So that's a long-winded spiel on full self-driving capability, but I think there's a lot of disinformation out there, a lot of confusion, and hopefully we can shed a little bit more light on it. So let's talk more about this vehicle. This is a Tesla dual motor long range. So being a dual motor, has a motor in the front, motor in the back, which makes it all-wheel drive. So it does great in the snow. It's also very fast. It's like having two engines, 0 to 60 under 5 seconds. Top speed over 130 miles an hour. Even though this is not a performance Model 3, which is the highest performance version of the Model 3 you can get, in its own right, this thing is pretty darn fast, and it's quicker than a lot of other vehicles on the road because you have instant throttle response. As soon as you hit the throttle, you have instant thrust. There's no thinking. There's no engine revving up, changing gears, changing to a different gear for acceleration. There's only one gear. No hesitation at all. And it's quite amazing. Until you drive an electric vehicle like this, I can't really put it in words. You have to experience it yourself because it's completely different than a gas car. And then, after driving an electric car for a little while, you kind of think about the chaos of of a gas car being, propelled by a vehicle with this metal thing making teeny explosions to make you move along. You can feel the vibration of the engine. You can feel the transmission shifting and hunting around for the right gear. The quietness and smoothness is unparalleled. You can't make a gas-powered vehicle as quiet and smooth as an EV like this. It's just impossible. And that's why I think, it's just a matter of time before most cars become EVs, and then gas-powered cars will be left to enthusiasts like motorcycles, people who like V8s and manual transmissions and things like that. So you have this amazing screen. The majority of the functionality is in this screen. It's infinitely configurable. You have a clean, uncluttered interior, no hard buttons. When you have hard fixed buttons, those are there forever. You can't upgrade them, you can't change them. Tesla's constantly improving, adding features to this thing. You have excellent voice commands. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to have to hunt through the screen to use the windshield wipers. Well, you don't have to. You go like this. Windshield wipers on 1. The windshield wipers are on. Windshield wipers off. Or, oh, I don't want to have to go through all these menus to adjust the climate control. You don't have to do that. Make it cooler. It'll keep on lowering the temperature by 3 degrees. Make it cooler. Make it warmer. Heated seats off. There's 150 different voice commands. You don't need to look off the road to mess with this. You can just do it all with voice commands. What's better than that? Then they're adding features, recent update. You got blind spot cameras. This car is out for years, and then you got an update, and then you have blind spot cameras. No extra charge. Free over-the-air update. Tesla's the master of over-the-air updates. This is like it was designed by Apple. I can't go on enough how much different, and in my opinion, how superior this is to pretty much almost what everyone else has. It's like going from the Starship Enterprise to a Model T after experiencing the level of connectivity that you have with this vehicle. And you can take it a step further with Tesla's amazing app. You have a level of control and connectivity of your vehicle with this amazing app. You can use your phone as a key. You can set the climate control. You can unlock the vehicle. You can honk the horns. You can pull up live camera views. I like setting the climate control as soon as I get out of the shower, but you can also have planned departures. So you can set a time during the day or during the weekends. So every time, I leave the house around 9, so I can have the car heating up, heats up the battery, heats up the vehicle, and gets it ready for driving. Because electric cars are not very efficient. You can see this little snowflake on the battery. That means the battery is cold. It's 25 degrees outside. But most of the time when you have an EV like this, it's going to be plugged in at your house. So what it can do is when it knows that you're going to leave soon, the car can get the temperature the inside to a comfortable temperature, and then it can condition the battery. It can warm up the battery before you leave, and if the battery is a little bit warmer, it's going to make the vehicle a lot more efficient. You're not going to lose as much range, and that's part of the the issue of electric vehicles is, yes, in colder temperatures they're not as efficient, and they're going to use range a lot faster than when it's warmer. But luckily us in the Pacific Northwest, most of the time it's 40-45 degrees out. Right now we have this rare cold weather where it's below 30 degrees. And the thing is too is that your house is the charging station. When this is fully charged, it has a range of about 300 miles. So you come home, you plug it in, then the next day when you want to use it, it's fully charged. So even though comparably, if you're gonna suffer range in the cold and stuff like that, unless you're driving more than like 200 miles a day, it's really not going to affect most people. And then on top of that, if you do need to fast charge and you don't have enough charging at your house, or you don't have enough, if you need more range than what you get from a full charge, you have Tesla's amazing supercharging network. They have 30,000 superchargers throughout the world. The majority of them in the United States. There's 2 superchargers within 6 miles of us, and you can get a full charge in about 35-45 minutes, and sometimes you don't even need to wait that long. One time I came into the supercharger of only 20 miles of range on the Tesla. I went next door to Starbucks to get a cup of coffee. I was back, I don't know, it was 10 minutes. It was already charged up to 100 miles. So I could have just made it home and then plugged in my car and then had it charge all night. So you don't have to wait at the fast charger for the full 40 minutes for it to charge. You can just add 100 miles real quick to get to where you need to go. And it will plan your trip for you. Like, we only have 83 miles of charge, but let's say I want to drive all the way across the country into Spokane, Washington, which is well over 200 miles. It'll figure it all out for me. There won't be confusion. I'm going to charge in North Bend. I'll arrive there with 6% range. I'll charge for 55 minutes. Then I'll go to Moses Lake. I'll arrive at 14% range. I'll charge for 50 minutes, and then I'll make it to Spokane. Obviously not the most ideal condition. Normally if I was going to start a trip to Spokane, I'd want to leave with a full charge, but you can see even with only 83 miles, it's still possible with the supercharging network to still make it to Spokane. It does maybe require one extra stop at a supercharger than it normally would take. Look at this amazing screen with the premium connectivity. You have these maps. You can stream Netflix. If you love music, they have great streaming stations. I love the streaming stations that they have. Big fan of music. And you can make your own stations. Like if you like Alanis Morissette, you can have the Alanis Morissette station and it will play similar artists. What else? I could talk for an hour about this car, but I know you probably don't want to sit here and listen to me talk about it for an hour. I guess if you do, I have a lot of other videos on YouTube, our YouTube channel, for Teslas, or you can just come in and talk to me. I like to talk. Nice wheel and tire package, beautiful vehicle. Since this is not a conventional vehicle with an engine in the front, you have more storage in the form of a frunk. And some EVs, they don't have frunks, which I think is a really big, miss on that part. Like, not to criticize, but the ID4 does not have a frunk. It's all, maintenance items and stuff like that. But you're really missing out offering a lot of storage by not having a frunk, in my opinion. And I use mine a lot. Sometimes at the grocery store, it's actually pretty amazing how much how much stuff you can fit in such a small vehicle. It's a compact vehicle. It's about the same size as a BMW 3 Series. Mercedes-Benz C-Class, her own product, the Infiniti Q50. But since it doesn't have an engine or a gas tank, it doesn't have a drive shaft, doesn't have a transmission hump, the floor is completely flat. So even though it's about the same size as comparable ICE vehicles or internal combustion engine vehicles, just because of the layout of an electric vehicle, it has a lot more space than the comparable gas car of a similar size. Look at this. This trunk is very large in its own right, but on top of that, normally you'd have a gas tank here, but here you just have more storage. Like I said, a lot of storage, a lot of interior space. I'm 6'2". I'm very, very comfortable in my Tesla, and I love it. You know, I'm a career car guy. I'm 42. I've been in the car business since I was 15. I work in the luxury end of sales. I get to drive lots of nice fancy vehicles all the time. But even though I daily drive a Tesla, and don't get me wrong, I do have gas vehicles too that I love. I have an Infiniti. I love Infinitis as well. You know, so I'm not just totally biased against Teslas, but when it comes to driving on the highway and stuff like that, having the advanced driver's assistance features, ADAS, like just even Tesla's regular autopilot makes my world a lot easier. But on top of that, you have the full self-driving capability. So you have traffic sign recognition, stop sign recognition. You can only have that with FSD. It will automatically stop for stop signs and traffic lights. It will slow down for corners. Fast corners and autopilot will automatically slow down. It will park itself. You have the summon feature. I'll show you that while we're at it. And we'll leave off there because I know you probably are getting tired of watching this video, but here's the summon. And a lot of these features are going to get better as the software progresses, but maybe if it's in a tight parking spot, you want to pull out of the parking spot, you can use a summon and you can back it up. You can make it go forward. And you can also make it go to a target location. This system still has some improvements, but it's definitely cool to show your friends. But I think, you know, maybe it might not be the most functional thing right now, but I think in a year or two, I think it could be at the point where it could drop you off at the entrance of the mall and then go find a parking spot and park itself, and then you summon it at the entrance of the mall. It'll come and find you and pick you up. That would be great. Thanks for watching this video. Hope to see you soon and have a wonderful day.